Hey everyone, I'm Corey, and today I'm pretty excited because I finally got my hands on the QIDI Q2 3D printer. If you're into 3D printing, you know QIDI makes some pretty good printers. This is going to be my first printer, so it's going to be a fun little learning curve to get this thing up and running, get some prints on there, and really start trying to incorporate some of these 3D prints into our Overlanding 2022 Ram 3500 build. And getting it ready for full-time living. So let's get this box opened up, get the printer set up, and let's get going.
Let's get into this thing. First thing you notice, it's well packed. QIDI did a solid job protecting it for shipping. Foam on all sides, everything secured. For a machine this size, that's exactly what you want to see. The Q2 weighs in at about 18 kilograms, so it's got some heft to it. This isn't a flimsy machine. You pick it up and it feels solid, which makes sense because the whole motion structure is built on a full metal frame with precision bearings and linear guide rails. That's not something you typically see at this price point. Here she is, and right away, the glass panels. That was one of the first things that caught my eye when I was researching this printer. A lot of enclosed printers use acrylic panels, and they look fine at first, but they scratch, they craze over time, especially with the heat inside the chamber. The enclosure itself is fully sealed, flame retardant materials throughout, so you're not nervous running this thing indoors or in a garage setup. So first thing, open her up, and right away you get to look at the inside of the heated enclosure. Everything is protected for shipping, print head is locked down, nothing moving around in there. It's well thought out. The print head has a foam and cardboard brace around it, securing it in place for transit. Pull that out carefully. This is protecting the hot end and the motion system from any shifting during shipping. The filament holder goes on next. Simple mount, clicks right into place. Nothing complicated here. Takes about 10 seconds. Then plug the screen in. The touchscreen sits on the face of the unit. Just needs the ribbon cable connected, and once that's in, you're basically ready to power it on and let the printer do the rest. This is where QIDI really nailed the experience for first time setup. The screen walks you through every single step and sequence. You're not cross-referencing a manual, you're not watching a setup video on your phone. It's all right there. Just follow the prompts. It'll walk you through the initial checks, get you to unscrew the build plate, which is bolted down for shipping to keep it from moving, and then move into the calibration sequence. Auto leveling, bed mapping, all of it. The printer is doing the work, you're just confirming each step as it goes. The good news is most of this is a one-time thing. First run setup, get it dialed in, and you're done. That said, I still let it auto level every time I print. It takes a couple of minutes, and for functional parts where first layer adhesion matters, it's worth it. Alright, first print. If you spent any time in the 3D printing world, you already know what this is, the Benchy. Universal first print for basically everyone who gets a new printer. The reason it's the go-to is because it's specifically designed to stress test your settings all at once. The curved hull, the overhangs, the cabin details, every part of it is testing something different. If your Benchy comes out clean, you're dialed in and ready to start printing real parts. Build volume on the Q2 is 270 by 270 by 256 millimeters. That's a generous print area. First thing I designed was a custom battery enclosure for my off-grid power setup in the rig. The whole point of designing it myself was fitment. I needed it to fit my exact space around my exact components. Nothing off the shelf was going to do that. Printed in ASA, which handles heat and UV without breaking down. Important for anything living in a vehicle. Came out exactly how I modeled it. That's the thing about designing your own parts. When it fits perfectly, it is really satisfying feeling. Now here's something fun I did with the enclosure covers. I integrated my logo directly into the print using layer slicing. Basically, you can tell the slicer to pause at a specific layer height and swap filament colors. And a cool thing is you don't need the multi-filament system to do this. I did it manually. The printer pauses, you swap the filament, and you resume. It does require you to be present and pay attention, but it works. That said, the AMS style multi-filament box is probably something I'll add down the line just to make the process more automated. The other part I printed was a busbar and fuse holder. If you're building out a 12-volt electrical system, your busbar is where all your feeds come off the battery, and keeping that organized with individual fuses on each run is the right way to do it. The last piece of the electrical puzzle was something I knew I'd have to solve from the start. I designed a custom wire pass-through plate that mounts right onto the roof of the Supertramp. It has 6 pass-through glands total. Nothing is sharing a gland, nothing is crammed in together. Printing in ASA was a no-brainer. It's on the roof of the vehicle, it's in direct sunlight, it gets hot. ASA handles all of that without warping or breaking down over time. And because I designed it myself, it fits the exact footprint I needed. The glands sealed tight, the plate sits flush, and it looks like it was always supposed to be there. That's kind of the theme running through the whole electrical build. Every custom printed part exists because the off-the-shelf version either doesn't exist or it didn't fit. The Q2 made it all possible, and honestly, it's changed how I think about building out the rig going forward.